Hey everybody, it's Gail. I hope you're all doing well this Friday. This Friday before the holiday weekend. Hope you're gonna have some good weather this weekend so that you can barbecue, do all that good fun outdoor stuff that we love to do on Memorial Day weekend. It's such a great holiday and such a great time to get together with your family. So I hope you have a lot of fun things planned. So this particular video, I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit and discussing my last full-blown manic episode that happened right around October of last year. And it followed a depressive episode. So I was actually depressed for probably 2 or 3 months, and then I flipped to a manic episode once those antidepressants started kicking in, and that's the caveat to having to take an antidepressant if you're diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder or bipolar 2. Sometimes with bipolar 2 disorder, the regular SSRIs, the regular antidepressants, can put people into hypomania or mania. And so it definitely requires a lot of hypervigilance and watching for symptoms of mania creeping in when you're on an antidepressant. So I discontinued the antidepressant once my depressive symptoms ended, but it just wasn't soon enough. I didn't get to my doctor soon enough to discuss my manic episode. So I apologize for the fogginess too. A lot of people with mania have memory issues, and I'm definitely one of those people. I was also treated with ECT, with electroconvulsive therapy, for a couple of years, a couple of times a week for a couple of years. And my memory is not that great, so I apologize if I skip over some key points of information. But I had surgery last summer on my hip. It was the 12th surgery on my left hip that I had. I had to have some new hardware put in because the hardware that I had in there was not holding or stabilizing the joint. So they had to go in and basically break my femur to hammer in a new rod, a new stem that goes down into the femur and stabilizes it after you have a hip replacement. So they had to do that. And in order to do that, I had to be non-weight bearing for 3 months. And you can imagine how tedious that was for 3 months and not being able to bear weight on your leg and walking around in a walker and just being tired from being post-op and having pain so severe that it actually throws you into depression. But again, this isn't about the depression that I was experiencing after that. I think there were a lot of things that contributed to the manic episode that I had after I had that depressive episode. And I think my moods were all over the map because of that surgery. So the surgery really took it out of me emotionally, mentally, and physically. Pretty much any way a surgery can take it out of you, it took it out of me. And I hope that I don't have to experience something like that for a long time because it was exhausting. Some of the symptoms that I was having were dysphoria. So this was not a euphoric mania. This was a dysphoric mania where I had a lot of agitation, a lot of akathisia, which is restlessness. I was pacing a lot. I was talking to myself. I wasn't eating much, I wasn't sleeping much. I was shopping a little bit more than I usually shop. Um, and I started to have some hallucinations. So, um, at this time, we were actually binge watching The Walking Dead. And I know that it sounds really stupid, but the zombies in The Walking Dead kind of somehow like I don't I don't know how to say it without sounding crazy. They the costumes and they just looked so real that I started to go into a psychosis and they became real to me. Like I like to say they kind of infiltrated my subconsciousness, and I was having when I was sleeping, I was having really violent nightmares about The Walking Dead and the characters on The Walking Dead and the plot. Because it's a pretty gory show. I mean, I've got to give myself some credit there. I know a lot of people that don't have mental illness that can't handle that show, so I'm not the only one out there. And I won't be the last to not be able to tolerate The Walking Dead. And anyway, I was having these hallucinations and probably should have gotten into a hospital at that point because I was seeing things that weren't there and hearing things that weren't there. Um, and that's always scary. And I just remember the the one night I had such a scary dream about my daughter being kidnapped, and this I remember this because the very next morning I just couldn't take it anymore, and I called my psychiatrist's office, and luckily um he has his own assistant and he has his own secretary, so I didn't have to talk to a stranger at their office. It was the secretary already knew who I was and what I had been going through. So when I called there, I was screaming on the phone because I was so desperate because I just felt so tortured. And and I just screamed. I was getting in fights with my husband. My husband was trying to calm me down, so there was screaming all throughout the house. And this was this was right before Thanksgiving, so uh, I have a lot of regrets about how I handled this particular psychotic break and manic episode. I got really argumentative. I actually got in my car and drove off with the intention of getting a hotel room. And um, I think the only thing that stopped me was my I didn't have the wherewithal to do it. I forgot my wallet. Um, so I couldn't pay for a hotel room. And so I just drove around screaming in my car for a good, hour or so and not answering phone calls. So I'm sure I scared the shit out of my husband. And I know that when I was gone, he had been calling my mom and updating my mom as to how I was doing. And what was going on. So when I got back in the car, I actually drove to the beach and walked in the sand a little bit to kind of try to ground myself. And that actually worked enough so that I could actually get back in my car and drive home. Um, And then when I got home, I had an immediate phone call with my psychiatrist because my husband had not only called my mother when I left the house to go on my jaunt, um, he called my psychiatrist as well, excuse me, and notified him and told him what was going on, and I immediately started a new antipsychotic that day. And I've been on roughly the same regimen for about 8 weeks now. And barring one small change, I've been pretty healthy. So that is the story of my last manic episode. And I'll leave you with that. I really appreciate all of you who are subscribing and watching my videos. Keep watching. Comment with any kind of topic that you think that I should cover that would be helpful to know a little bit more about. Hit like, hit subscribe, spread the word about my channel. I really am here to help all of you and help you understand mental illness better, as well as destigmatizing it, because we all know that the stigma surrounding mental illness is just so great and so all-encompassing that my goal by doing each one of these videos is to chip away at that stigma slowly but surely. We'll break it down, and this will be stuff that we can talk about just like we talk about a common cold, because it is an illness and it should be treated as such. And we're not monsters. We're just sick people, and we need help and we need love, and we deserve all of that. So just like the rest of you. So thanks for watching. I hope to hear from you soon, and peace out.